Yeah, good morning, students. So, welcome to the new session, chemistry paper discussion, phase 3, shift 1, 27th July 2021. Right? So, when we look at this question paper, the first question a weak acid of HA of concentration 0.01 mole per liter have conductance 2 into 10 power minus 5. This is the specific conductance. So by just seeing the units, we can know these are the specific conductance units. So K kappa is equals to 2 into 10 power minus 5 Simon centimeter inverse. And molar conductivity at infinite dilution. Lambda naught M is equals to 190 Simon centimeter square mole inverse. Then the value of K. So here what we have to calculate, lambda Cm we should calculate. Lambda Cm is equals to K into 1000 divided by molarity. K value is equals to 2 into 10 power minus 5 into 1000 divided by molarity. This is 0.01 mole per liter. 0.01 mole per liter, which is nothing but 10 power minus 2 molar. So here this is going to 10 power minus 3 minus 2. It gets cancelled. That is equals to 2. Alpha is equals to molar conductance at known dilution to the molar conductance at infinite dilution, that is equals to 2 divided by molar conductance at infinite dilution is going to be 190. From this, which is very much evident that the alpha value is going to be very less. Here we need to calculate the Ka of the weak acid. Ka is equals to C alpha square divided by 1 minus alpha. Since alpha is very less, very less, we can consider 1 minus alpha is approximately equals to 1, such that Ka is equals to 10 power minus 2 alpha square. Alpha is 2 divided by 190 whole square. Just calculate this one. Right? So here this is very well known model of problem which is given so many times. Right? So molar conductance at infinite dilution is given. Molar conductance at known dilution we calculated from by using the specific conductance. Okay, next moving to the next one. Sodium hydroxide, beryllium hydroxide, calcium hydroxide, aluminum hydroxide, and boric acid. Yeah, what are these? Sodium hydroxide is a base. This is a base. Beryllium hydroxide is amphoteric. Beryllium hydroxide is amphoteric in nature because beryllium hydroxide is having the reaction with, whenever you react with the sodium hydroxide, 2 moles of sodium hydroxide, it is going to give BeOH taken 4 times minus 2. This will form. At the same time, beryllium hydroxide, when it reacts with 2 moles of HCl, it is going to give BeCl2, such that beryllium hydroxide is amphoteric in nature. Calcium hydroxide is absolutely a base, no doubt about it. Aluminum hydroxide, again, this is amphoteric in nature. Aluminum hydroxide, whenever we react with base, it is going to give us octahedral complex OH 6 times minus 3. When it is reacted with HCl, it is going to give AlCl3. So it has reaction with both acid as well as base. This is also amphoteric in nature. When it comes to boric acid is not the regular or orthodox kind of an acid. This is an acid which is having the tendency to accept the OH minus ions. So boric acid, when it reacts with OH minus, it is going to give us BOH taken 4 times minus 1. So it is able to react with base. and its Ka value is going to be so less, around 10 power minus 9. So its pK value is 9, therefore it is a very weak acid. The reason for not giving the H plus ions from the boric acid is going to be it is involved or associated with the hydrogen bonding. Right? It's a very clear question. Fundamentals, all these are. Next, lattice parameters which are given, and what is this? Alpha equal to gamma equal to 90 and beta is equals to 120. Monoclinic. Alpha is equal to beta is equals to alpha equal to gamma is equals to 90 and beta is equals to 120 degrees. Here A does not equal to B does not equals to C. This is monoclinic. Hexagonal is A is equals to B does not equal to C. Alpha is equals to beta is equals to 90. Gamma is equals to 120. This is going to be hexagonal. When it comes to triclinic, A does not equal to B does not equal to C. Alpha does not equal to beta does not equal to gamma does not equals to 90. Orthorhombic. So when it comes to orthorhombic, alpha is equal to beta is equal to gamma is equals to 90. A does not equal to B does not equals to C. Okay. So this is absolutely which is there in our NCERT textbook. Number of geometrical isomers of the complex NiCO taken 4 times, PtCl2 NH3 taken twice, ruthenium Cl3 NH3 taken thrice respectively. This is Ma4 type. Ma4 type has no geometrical isomers. This is Ma2B2 type. Ma2B2 type has 2 geometrical isomers. This is Ma3B3 type. Ma3B3 type. It is having 2 geometrical isomers. They are Pac-Mer, facial meridonian, 2 isomers. So 0, 2, 2. Ma4B2 also can exhibit the geometrical isomerism, isn't it? Ma4BC also can exhibit the geometrical isomerism. Ma2B2C2 also can exhibit the geometrical isomerism. So for that we need to go for the arrangement of the different atoms with respect to the metal ion. Next. Identify the correct hybridization magnetic nature of complex MnCl taken 6 times minus 3. MnCl 6 times minus 3. Here manganese is having the electronic configuration 4s2 3d5, outermost electronic configuration. Manganese is having the oxidation state plus 3, Mn plus 3, this is going to be 3d4. And moreover, chlorine is a weak ligand. It's a weak ligand. So when it is a weak ligand, no pairing up takes place. Therefore, 3d4, 4s0, 4p0. So 3d4 now 3d4 1, 2, 3, 4, and here who is going to 3d orbitals are not available, therefore it has to move to the 4d orbitals. 4d. So what is the hybridization here? sp3d2 hybridization. sp3d2 hybridization. Number of unpaired electrons are is equals to 4, therefore it is going to be paramagnetic in nature. Magnetic moment mu is equal to square root of 4 into 4 plus 2. This is the magnetic moment. Paramagnetic as well as sp3d2 hybridization. So according to VVT we can check, or according to CFT also you can check. So which method you are more comfortable in the exam, that method you can follow. But the top of the cherry is you need to know what is the strong ligand and what is the weak ligand. That is what you have to know. Next. Difference between bond orders of carbon monoxide CO and NO plus. Let us look at the electrons, number of electrons 14, here also number of electrons are going to be 14. Here bond order is 3 and here also bond order is 3, therefore difference is equals to 0. So this is quite evident, as simple as that, it's a free hit type. The value of delta H minus delta U for the vaporization of water. Actually delta H is equals to delta U plus P delta V. This is for the physical change of the process. Delta H is equals to delta U for the chemical reaction, delta N RT. When there is a change in number of moles. When there will be a change in number of moles? If you have the chemical reaction takes place here. Now delta H minus delta U is equals to delta N RT. Now let us consider here H2O liquid is converting into H2O gas. Delta Ng or delta N. Here also you can write delta Ng. Change in number of moles of gaseous products to the reactants. 1 minus 0, that is equals to 1. That is equals to 1 into, here the answer to be, we need to report the answer in terms of joules. So 8.314 into temperature is going to be 373. So just multiply this one, we are going to get this one, it doesn't matter because we are going to express our answer in terms of the, okay, into 10 square joule per molar, okay, we will get the answer. So just calculate that one, then you will get know whether you are getting that answer or not. Absolutely, the answer will be spot on, no doubt about it. Density of aqueous solution of sodium hydroxide is 1.2 grams per cc, 1.2 grams per centimeter cube actually, that is, not centimeter square. Then find its molality. We have to calculate its molality M. M is equals to weight of the substance divided by gram molecular weight of the substance into 1000 divided by weight of solvent. Weight of the solvent, right? So now here density is equals to, look at this, density of aqueous sodium hydroxide solution is equals to 1.2 grams per centimeter cube. For example, what is the meaning of this? 1.2 grams per 1 ml of solution. Now I will consider per 1000 ml of solution. What is the weight here? This is equals to 1.2 into 10 cube, that is equals to yeah, 1200 grams. Yes, right, 1200 grams in 1000 ml of solution. In 1000 ml of solution, right? 1200 grams which is present in the 1000 ml of solution. Some data which is missed here. So now we are not going to deal with this one because 1200 grams of sodium hydroxide present in 1000 ml is going to be ridiculous thing. Okay, some data which is missed here. We'll go to the next one. Yeah, next. Identify the wrong statement from the following about Ellingham diagrams. What Ellingham diagrams always keep on talking about is going to be the formation of 1 mole of metal oxide. The formation of 1 mole of the metal oxide regarding the oxidation as well as the reduction, isn't it? So now let us see here, it gives the rate of reaction. What we have to identify wrong statement. It never gives any information about the rate of the reaction. It tells about the stability of the complex. Yes, if delta G is more negative for the formation of that particular oxide, therefore that is going to be more spontaneous or more stable. Yes, correct, true. It gives idea about the reduction of the metal oxide. Absolutely correct. It will definitely give about the reduction of the metal oxide, with which metal it can undergo reduction, with which metal it does not undergo reduction, And all Sellingham diagrams can also give an information about the fusion as well as the vaporization, because whenever there is a change in the direction of the graph, definitely entropy is going to be changed. Obviously, here the free energy change also going to be changed, suddenly changed. So it gives idea about the free energy of reduction. So this B, C as well as D are correct. What is wrong? A is going to be the wrong. Right? Next. The main product of electrolysis of concentrated H2SO4. H2SO4 gives rise to, when it undergo electrolysis, 2H plus SO4 minus 2, or first electrolysis you can consider this one as a H plus HSO4 minus. So at cathode what will be formed? At cathode what will be formed? 2H plus 2 electrons gives rise to H2, hydrogen gas. When comes to at anode 2HSO4 minus gives rise to H2S2 O8 plus 2 electrons. Faraday sulfuric acid will be formed. H2S2O8. Faraday sulfuric acid will be formed. Peroxy bond will be present here. Right? Clear? Next. We'll move to the next problem. The main product of oxidation number of phosphorus in H4P2O7, H4P2O5 and H4P2O6. H4P2O7 you can calculate plus 4 into 1 plus 2x minus 14 is equal to 0, 2x is equal to plus 10, x is equals to plus 5. H4P2O5, the board is not working well. So 4 plus 2x minus 10 is equals to 0. Now this is equals to 2x is equal to plus 8. X is equals to plus 4 plus 6 and x is equals to plus 3. Now H4P2O6. This is 4 plus 2x minus 12 is equal to 0. 2x is equal to plus 8. X is equals to plus 4. So plus 5 plus 3 as well as plus 4. Oxidation states. Such an easy one, which is an elementary one for the student who is appearing for the JEE Mains. These are all the papers so far. It is going to be so good and very easy also. So that you need to work hard to get the more number of marks. Rutherford's model of an atom cannot explain hydrogen spectrum. Absolutely. Rutherford's atomic model doesn't discuss anything about the spectrum. It is unable to explain the spectrum. That's the first drawback of Rutherford's atomic model. And second one, Bohr's atomic model is not accordance with the Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. Absolutely true. Bohr's atomic model is having an excellent agreement with the de Broglie, but it is not having any agreement with the Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. Heisenberg's uncertainty principle ruled out the regular trajectories or the regular paths, so or the fixed paths. But in the Bohr's atomic model, it always talks about the electron which revolves around the nucleus in circular paths, fixed paths. So which is absolutely not acceptable according to the Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. So both statements are absolutely true. Generally, halides of lithium are covalent. Absolutely true. Lithium is being a smaller atom, having the more covalent nature, and it is also having the more polarizing power. Because of that, it is almost all its halides are covalent in nature. Lithium carbonate, because of the polarizing power, it does not exist. It is easily converted to Li2O as well as carbon dioxide. Lithium peroxide does not exist because of the greater polarizing power of Li plus, it grab the electron density towards itself and it will be converted to Li2O along with the O2. And lithium nitrate also same situation. The same thing will be happened with the lithium nitrate also. So these are all because of the lithium is having the greater covalent character, smaller size, as well as electronegativity is more and polarizing power. That's why it is also having more typical character when compared with remaining all the first A group metals. Remaining all first A group metals, their carbonates are stable, their nitrates are stable, their bicarbonates are also going to be stable. But in the case of the lithium, that is not happening due to smaller size, covalent nature, more electronegativity, more polarizing power. Anything is there, that's going to be my option. Yeah, look at this. Generally, halides of lithium are covalent and lithium is having the high polarizing power. So, absolutely true. So, 1 as well as 2, both of them are absolutely correct. And that is a correct explanation also. Correct explanation also. That option is not given. If it is given, I would have definitely go for that correct option. Units of rate constant for nth order. R is equals to K into concentration of A power n. So K is equals to R divided by concentration of A power n. Rate units are molar time inverse. Concentration units are molar power n. That is equals to molar power 1 minus n. Molar power 1 minus n time inverse. Molar power 1 minus n time inverse. Yeah, molar means mole liter inverse na. So mole power 1 minus n, liter power n minus 1 time inverse. Right? Clear? Next, we'll go to the next one. Equilibrium constant. Yeah. Equilibrium constant Kc for dissociation of PCl5 according to this equation. PCl5 gives rise to PCl3 plus Cl2 is, what is its Kc value? Is equals to 1.844. Right. Initially 3 moles of PCl5 is present in 1 liter flask. So absolutely boost for us because 1 liter is given, therefore concentration is going to be 3 molar. 3 minus x. This is under initial conditions. This is at the state of equilibrium. This will be at the state of equilibrium, right? So now this is going to be the number of moles of PCl5, after the equilibrium setup. So now Kc is equals to concentration of PCl3 into concentration of Cl2 divided by concentration of PCl5. Kc value 1.844 is equals to x square divided by 3 minus x. It could be a ridiculous calculation, we have to accept, and you need to apply x is equals to minus b plus or minus square root of b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. So then only you can calculate, but we cannot escape out from here. So this is the so far information we got. This is just memory based. I don't think so that the question like in this manner, but if it is given like this is absolutely not acceptable, but we have to do it, right? According to Freundlich-Jesodam, x by m is equals to k into p power 1 divided by n. When pressure is increased by 2 times, okay, then the extent of absorption becomes 64 times. So extent of absorption becomes 64 times, right? Pressure becomes 2 times, 2 power 1 divided by n. 2 power 1 divided by n. Now this is 16 2s are 32, therefore 2 power 6 is equals to 2 power 1 divided by n. 1 by n is equals to 6, yeah. So this is also going to be quite easier one. Freundlich isotherms, this has been asking in the JEE mains as well as advanced. since ages. Okay, so they just went for like like short questions. It's nothing like they digged anything and they're asking the questions from somewhere and any inherent data, nothing. It's almost like direct shooting. Every topic they went for the gunshot points and they have just framed the questions which are given to you. So you must be very lucky if you attempted this chemistry paper. Very easy paper actually. Yeah, now so far organic we haven't seen. Now this is the organic we have. Now alcohol is there, H3PO4, this means elimination. So now in elimination what will happen here? OH. Now what we have to do here? H plus heating. Definitely carbocation formation will be there. So now this is going to be OH minus, it is going to be gone. Here you will get the carbocation. Surely you will get the carbocation here, OH now. So OH will be gone, H2 molecule will be gone, carbocation will be formed. Right, this is primary carbocation. Shifting is possible. Which shifting is possible? Hydrate shifting is possible. Therefore, it will give us, now because of the heating, elimination takes place such that it gives me a fantastic alkene like this. Now, hydroboration, oxidation. Hydroboration, oxidation, almost like it is always to be substituted at the less substituted compound. So, for the less substituted compound, OH should be attached. Where it has to be attached? OH. That's it. This is the compound. As simple as that. Right? If you want to see here plus carbocation. Clear? So this is also rearrangements. This is what we were discussed in the last paper also. They are giving rearrangements, but not complicated. Simple hydride shifts, simple methyl shifts. That's it. Yeah, CH4 plus I2 gives rise to CH3I, HI. What shall be added so the reaction proceeds in one direction? Actually, HI is a fantastic reducing agent. It always wanted to convert it to I2. That we know I minus, actually in fact the problem is with I minus. I minus always wanted to convert it to I2 by releasing those two electrons. That's why this reaction is usually catalyzed by using the concentrated HiO3 as well as concentrated HNO3 and as well as the heating. All these three should be used. Then only the reaction to be catalyzed in such a direction forward. So concentrated HiO3, concentrated HNO3. Concentrated HiO3 is given, therefore I will go for that option. Monosaccharides and disaccharides are differentiated by Barfoot test. Barfoot test, monosaccharides will give blue color within seconds, whereas disaccharides it will take little time. That is the one, that is a good thing. DNA complementary base thiamine is, thiamine it is going to be adenine, guanidine, cytosine. For adenine, thiamine, for guanidine, cytosine. So those are the complementaries. Next, aniline is a less basic than acetamide. That's a false thing because aniline is a base, whereas acetamide is going to be a salt. So in aniline, you will be having acetamide. So here lone pair of electrons, when bond is polarized, these lone pair of electrons involved in the conjugation. This is the better base when compared with acetamide. In aniline, the lone pair delocalized, so electron density reduced. So the electron density which is going to be reduced. So that is true. In aniline, the lone pair delocalized. The lone pair is going to be delocalized because lone pair of electrons are to be given in this. so electron density is going to be reduced. Actually what will happen, unlike the other amines, what they're asking here, the electron density on nitrogen, for example, if I take any aliphatic amine, their electron density is more when compared with this aromatic amine. Here this is aniline aromatic. Now this electron, these lone pair of electrons will be given to this aromatic nucleus. Therefore, electron density on this nitrogen is going to be decreased or reduced. That is what they are asking. Actually, statement 1 is false. Statement 2 is absolutely correct. So, option B is, but B is not a correct explanation of A. That is okay. Which of the following given statements on eutrophication are not correct? First of all, what is an eutrophication? Eutrophication, which is caused because of the excess amount of oxygen present due to the excess amount of oxygen, or which is nothing but dissolved oxygen which is present in that system or in the water. So green algae as well as the aquatic plants, they grow bigger such that it leads to the deficiency of the water. This phenomenon or this kind of pollution, we can call it as eutrophication. Now look at this. Eutrophication decreases the oxygen level in water? No. Eutrophication is caused because of the excess of oxygen. Next, less than 6 ppm oxygen fishes cannot survive, but there is no point to talk about the eutrophication here. Eutrophication involve anaerobic respiration? No. Eutrophication increases the oxygen level in water? Absolutely true. It causes because of the excess amount of water. Eutrophication, that is caused because of the excess oxygen present in water. Green algae, aquatic plants to be grown bigger, it is going to cause absolutely drought to that. The total water is going to be evaporated. It is almost like total water is going to be vanished. That is nothing but the eutrophication. Match the column. Here anyway, this is quite a theory, NCRT. So you just see this one once. Yes, what is the formula of mustard gas? Nothing but chloride substituted. Yeah, option A. This is going to be, this is also absolutely theory based. Option A here. Nothing to discuss here. Next, carbocation stability. Carbocation stability, here I have benzyl carbocation. Another one is going to be, this is secondary carbocation. Secondary carbocation. This is benzyl carbocation, more stable when compared with this one. Next, this is sp hybridized, sp2 hybridized. When electronegativity is more, Sg character is going to be decreased. Therefore, what is the order? 1 is greater than 2 is greater than 3 is greater than 4. Because sp hybridized as well as the sp2 hybridized, the electronegativity is more. Therefore, carbocation stability is going to be decreased. More is the electronegativity, stability of the carbocation is going to be decreased. That we know. Or charge present on that particular system is going to be increased. That is what we have been talking about. Staggered and eclipsed form of ethane. Ethane, simply it is having CH3 bond CH3 kind of system. It's not an enantiomer, it's not an anomer, it's not an epimer. If different types of groups are present, therefore we have to think about this. They are not definitely enantiomers because first of all there is no chiral center, not anomers, not epimers, right? What are they? Rotamers. That is, by rotating along a particular axis, we are going to get this kind of staggered as well as the eclipsed forms. Eclipsed form is having the more strain when compared with the staggered form, right? So this is what we have here. This is also simple. Now this is the end of the session. Hope you like this session. We discussed the most of the questions except one question, which the data I'm not relying on that one. We'll see once again. Okay, if the original paper comes, therefore we can come to the discussion once again. Have a nice day. Thank you.